வெளியூர் பயணமா ரிசர்வேஷன் கிடைக்கலையா படிக்கட்டு ஏறி இறங்க ரொம்ப சிரமமா இருக்கா டிராப் டாக்ஸி புக் பண்ணுங்க ஒரு வழி கட்டணம் மட்டுமே டிராப் டாக்ஸி எங்கும் எப்போதும்.
So thank you very much, sir. There were 35 honorable members who spoke on this bill, and I think 30 of them did yesterday, and 5 of them have spoken now. Sir, by normal course, I would have gone back to saying a few words about how we introduced this bill and what brought the bill here and so on. But I understand from members that there is private members bill time, and as much as possible, if I can reduce my response, I'll try to do it, but I will therefore avoid going back to talking or what exactly I said yesterday at the time of introduction and give more importance for responding to the honorable members. So it may appear as if I'm abruptly beginning my reply, but in order to accommodate the request for private members bill time, I will start with the responses. So whilst I don't want to do injustice to any member who has raised any issue, I'll focus on that rather than going back to telling about the bill and its objective and purpose. Although some of the questions which members raised in my answer, I'll be able to address that as well. So I'm not getting back to talking on the purpose of bill, it's a cess, it's not a duty, I'm not going into that. So, but I will have to, of course, speak on why this bill will have to, this bill aims at a cess which gets collected, part of which will be spent on public health, and the other part of it will go for defense-related purposes. The moment I say this, and of course, there are members who have spoken about it as well, so I'm giving a clarification. Public health is a state domain. States manage public health. National defense is a government of India domain. In the list of businesses for center and state, it's very clearly divided. So, in this day and age, where credible defense capabilities are absolutely critical for national defense, we need to raise resources to buffer the defense requirements, also because modern conflicts are dominated by precision weapons, autonomous systems, space assets, and also cyber operations. So as it is, they're becoming capital intensive. They're becoming such in nature that unless you periodically update the technology, they are not even ready for a modern day warfare. From the ramparts of the Red Fort, Honorable Prime Minister had said, Mission Sudarshan Chakra. Mission Sudarshan Chakra means building a wall of security around the country's key locations. So now the warfare is not just in the borders. Key locations will have also got to be protected. Industrial and public sector undertakings are all heavily invested in. We need to protect them. So the enemy should not be given any chance to penetrate. If the enemy does, our Sudarshan Chakra will destroy them. That's the capability we want to bring in. Now, during Operation Sindoor, sir, you will be aware how our three services worked together using signals, drones, and all kinds of digital technological advances that we have. We neutralized the targets without our troops even crossing the border, and without one civilian casualty because of here and even across the border. So the humanitarian line was also very clear. And this is actually the reality of modern warfare. Technology is so advanced, you need to constantly keep updating it. And tech-driven precision, as was displayed during Operation Sindoor, precision is the key word for which we need to invest, for which we need resources, for which we need to understand that it doesn't come cheap. And therefore, more resources towards specific objective of strengthening defense will have to be made, and cesses are normally those taxes which come with specific objectives stated up front, and that is why a cess. So therefore, this offers us a feasible mechanism to strengthen both citizens' health and military preparedness. Now, what is citizens' health? If money is being given to the states, as I said, public health is a state's domain. And if money is being provided for public health, it obviously goes to the states in order that they are able to help with, one, stopping people from using this harmful demerit goods, or building awareness, or supplementing their medical requirement, and so on. So that is the purpose, intent, and also the way in which this cess is being created and also will be used. We are only taxing the demerit goods. This cess is not for anything else. And largely the incidence of this tax is going to be remaining the same as it is prevailing now. When I explained about the excise duty matter earlier, I explained as to what is the World Health Organization's affordability index in using items like cigarettes. They are far below the global benchmark, and therefore we have to increase so that it doesn't become affordable for people who are using these demerit goods. So the scale of the tax reform, I want to have a word said on that. Now, I heard honorable members speak saying this government has become so desperate that it wants to raise taxes through such cesses, and on pan masala you want to levy a tax, and that to levy on pan masala for defense. Have you become so desperate? I just want to, respond to them, sir. It is the duty of any finance minister to raise revenue so that the various competing demands are met. But here is a government which has already given away its fiscal space in very many ways to coming within 1 year. Sir, I don't want to do any comparison, particularly having achieved this kind of a level with the Prime Minister's guidance. Absurd levels of income tax prevailed in this country. 95% tax was on income. So my comparison with that will be absurd. Why? Because within 1 year, we gave a huge reduction in income tax. The earlier number was 7 lakh, and probably with all the other deductions, it would have come to 7.76. So people earning up to 7.76 had nothing to pay as tax, income tax. And there were a lot of speculation saying we'll probably go up to 8, 9, 10. We went up to 12. And today, probably even 12.26 lakh tak, you have no tax to pay. That is on the one hand. And on the other, in the same year, we, with the approval of the GST Council, I'm grateful, I'll never miss an opportunity to thank all the members of the GST Council. They agreed for a sweeping change in the GST that common man items have all become cheap. Across the board, no item was excused. Every finance minister and the GST Council came together to agree for it.
So, Suniya, please.
So that income tax, 12 lakh tak no tax, actually has left 1 lakh crore in the hands of our people. 1 lakh crore was left in the hands of the people. That's a fiscal space I had. I could have made sure the tax were collected even to that extent. No, that 1 lakh is now with their hands, people's hands. So at no point in India's free history, 1947 upwards, both direct and indirect tax have been reduced in this substantial level. And I'm happy to stand here to say I had the fullest guidance and support of Honorable Prime Minister that we were able to do it. Now, at this time, when we're bringing a cess on a demerit good after having given income tax reduction, after having widened the tax, reducing the tax for GST, we are bringing on a demerit good, and here are some members saying the government is so desperate for revenue. I need to give money for defense. Am I taxing essential commodities of the common people? No. It is only on the demerit goods.
Ma'am, one second, ma'am. माननीय सदस्यों, सभा की सहमति हो तो प्राइवेट मेंबर बिल इस विधेयक पर सभा के निर्णय के पश्चात ले जाए.
कल बात हुआ था इस पे एग्रीमेंट.
थैंक यू सो मच मैडम.
आप लोग तारीफ करना चाहिए फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर इतना.
नहीं, ओके. मैडम may continue, ma'am.
So, pan masala like items, sir, I'm sure not one member of this house is suggesting that pan masala must be made affordable. No one is suggesting that. Not at all. So, वो अलग बात है जी, वो अलग बात है. अच्छा बात है. So, they should not enjoy normal tax, and no serious argument exists to defend that kind of a thing, sir. So the money being collected from pan masala going for defense, I can't see whether money is fungible, sir. I will collect it, I will use it for defense, I'll use it for road building, I'll use it for, sorry? I'll give you the number-wise details, sir. Please patiently wait. I'll give you every number on every cess collected and where it has gone. So, sir, नहीं लंबा नहीं होगा क्योंकि प्राइवेट बिल है, प्राइवेट मेंबर्स बिल है, मगर जवाब तो मिलेगा. Sir, therefore, collecting revenue and making sure your nation is well defended, I think is a right duty of every government, and that's what we are doing here. I just want to remind, just flag, how for want of resources, our soldiers were left in the Himalayan cold without boots, without woolens, and without even food sometimes, that our soldiers had to stay at the border. We don't want that situation. We couldn't even procure artillery guns for a period of 30 years after that episode of Bofors. Nobody had the courage to go and buy any more because they thought scandal, anybody will mark them and accuse them. So everybody stayed back. We didn't even procure. For 30 years, any artillery gun was not procured. And the fear of that image, defense means kickbacks, made many ministers not to do anything, no taking decision. Why? I don't want to get into that, vicious environment of defense procurement means I took kickbacks. Everybody stayed back, they didn't want to take. But in the process, our defense were left without, defense forces were left without defense for themselves. They didn't have the guns, they didn't have the boats, they didn't have the artillery, and even for that matter, they didn't even have enough ammunition. So that was the state. I can go to every detail of, who said what at that time, to say, for reasons that we don't have money, we are not able to procure. Honorable Minister had said that statement in this house. I'm not able to procure because I don't have money. I'm not going into the details, but everybody knows the moment I say this as to who I'm referring to. So the capability gap which the defense suffered from, It took a long time for restoring that kind of a preparedness of our armed forces. Kargil conflict suffered because of that. Retired army generals have said how army followed a bottom line approach due to budgetary constraints from early 1990s. As a result, army was holding only 70 to 80% of authorized weapons, ammunition, and equipment. We don't want that stage ever in India back again. There are many instances, sir, for the sake of honorable members who wanted to concentrate, quickly finish this and concentrate on the private member bills. Report. 2015, the report came out in 15, but it pertains to the year 2013. Army's ammunition reserves were at a crisis level. Against the official requirement of stocking 40 days of war reserves, 125 of 170 ammunition types fell below the 20 days supply. Shockingly, half of all the ammunition types had stocks for less than 10 days of intensive warfare as of March 2013, sir. So that's the level into which our armed forces were depleted of their resources. We can't afford that. And therefore, we want to have consistent, regular, steady flow of income so that we are able to give that to defense purposes. There's one other example which always makes me feel very depressed. 2011 report by the CAG painted a very dismal picture of our coastal defense, citing ad hoc planning and huge manpower and equipment shortfall. The Indian Coast Guards, entrusted with much of the coastal security, sir, was operating barely half its required strength. Only 65% of the needed patrol vessels were with them, and 48% of the required aircrafts were in service. So that is the kind of lacunae that we faced. We don't want that situation. We should be able to provide for our defense far more efficiently and steadily. So I'll go over to talking particular members and their concerns. Sir D. Prasad Rao, Sri Supriya Sule, and also Srimati Supriya, thank you. Srimati Supriya Sule, and also